you'll notice once again here, let's keep
marital
going.
counseling. We
There's those two watches.
had the hard conversation. We dispelled the soulmate myth. I'm with you there, 100%. The idealistic, romantic, nonsensical Disney love of marriage. We established all that stuff ahead of time. So that's the part where I look at some of the stuff. And I'm like, why are we not talking about what actually requires to get someone like a Sauce to land in a place of, man, I'm in a happy monogamous marriage where kids and family can thrive.
Which is why I wrote the fourth.
Okay. So let's back up out of this. You already know he's got two watches on. You already know that the tablet is sitting right there. Now I'm going to explain a few things to you. The reason why he has all that in there is because in the conference room that's outside the vault here, he's got two other guys out there that are connected with him, that are feeding him stats, that are hit him on this, get Rolo on that, get Rolo on this. That's why he's got that connectivity right there. And the reason I know that, Ruslan, is because I had Miguel, my good boy Miguel, in the same conference room with you guys, watching this as it happens. So he's in there with his tablet and trying, this is me doing it. By the way, this whole thing is me doing a debate with, figuratively speaking, with one hand tied behind my back. I did not have a tablet there. I did not have two iWatches on at the same time. God only knows what the text. Now, can I say that this is exactly what was going on? Well, I can tell you what Miguel was telling me, and probably on Friday, when he comes in here for our show on Friday, I'll ask him about it. But he's in the conference room. There's one guy who's frantically typing on his laptop. The other guy and Miguel are having this conversation, and these are like Ruslan's boys. That had come with him. Now, Ruslan has to leave early. He has got to get out of there and get to Fort Lauderdale Airport because he's got to get in and out. I don't know why, but that's the case. And so I do this show, and I didn't know what any of this shit that's going on. I don't care whether I've used tablets on Fresh and Fit. I've never used it on Adams because I never really needed to. And I'm like, what the hell is this? And even, Adam will say, okay, let's turn our phones off because we don't want any interruptions when we're there. And he's already got parts of the books highlighted, and they're only the parts where it's like, well, Rolo, you said you're a Christian at the end of this. And it's like, yeah, that's no mystery there. Do you want to talk about marriage? Do you want to talk about sex? Do you want to talk about how feminism has infiltrated your religion and every other religion for that matter? Do you want to talk about the crisis of masculinity? I can rattle off all of the chapters in that book or my own chapter, but you only want to stick to those things. Okay. And the reason why is because that's the only reason he came in there in the first place. It's not a debate. I keep telling you, most people have no earthly idea what a debate is. I even said this after he had left. That's not a debate. A debate is, here's the topic. Here's what we're going to talk about. Is this idea true or false? As I said on the last show, I said, when a believer versus an empiricist have that talk, they're talking past each other. It's not a debate because a believer's proposition, the reason why he's in that room and the reason why Ruslan is in that room is not to debate a goddamn thing. It is to establish whether Rolo is a hypocrite or he's not a hypocrite. It's to establish, here's what you ought to be doing. And I said from the beginning, we are not using should and is. It's should. It's the argument is should versus is. I'm not about should. I'm about is. Here's what is going on. These seem like pretty good best practices for is. I'm not telling you what you should do. Again, I've been married for 26 years. I have a 24-year-old daughter. I have what most guys would consider an ideal marriage, right? And that's after, my notch count. That's after my wife's notch count. That's after, my horrible relationship with a borderline personality disordered girlfriend. That's after a lot of things. It's not after, we're going to go to marriage conferences. Okay, maybe that worked great for you and you can go and promote that. But should I promote, hey, here, do it like I did? Do you think that's going to work for guys in 2022? What worked for me back in 1994, well, actually from 86 till 96, for that 10-year period? Do you think that, okay, yeah, let's go and rewind the clock? No, it's not. In fact, if I said, hey, here, in fact, if anything, I'm saying, yeah, here's the best practices. Do this. Because that's essentially what I was doing for a while. When I met my wife, we were dating non-exclusively. So was she. Should we go and make that our, hey, let's go and do this? Or should it be, oh, well, we should all go to marriage conferences and hope for the best? Wife, Dalrock, man up and marry those sluts. Is that best practices? Because we can make best practices out of goddamn anything that sound like it's moral and ethical and everything else. And I would also say this is like, if you're going to come to a belief set, I think it's better for you to come through it through rationality than it is for like, for you to come through it through like, emotionalism. That's what most people, when it comes to virtue and it comes to your values and everything else, it's not based on rationality. It's based on your feels and how you're brought up. Okay, well, you want me to give you a prescription? Here you go. Go and get into a metal band, like right around 88, 89. Start playing the LA club scene. Fuck random hoes. Get into it with swimsuit models. Have one centerfold in your past. Get about 40 some odd, notch count, and then go through a shitty borderline personality disorder girlfriend. Oh, and then here's what you ought to do. Miraculously find some girl who really is right with the Lord and is wants you to be the driver, wants you to be the alpha male and everything else, and then just marry that girl because it seems like like she's the best choice for you, and then you'll have a 26-year marriage. There's your prescription. Guys, ready to follow that? Here, that I just roll Tomasi. I give it all up. Yeah, that's your prescription. That's what you ought to do. Follow my template. Here's my template. This is what you ought to do. You tell me to fuck off? Yeah, I would hope so. Please tell me to fuck off when it comes to that. Now, the other thing is this guy decides to come in here. He's got two guys out in the conference room. One of them's feeding him lines and feeding him information. And towards the end of I'm not going to go into it right now, but like you can watch the video if you want. But towards the end of the show, Ruslan's got to go, but he was very, very specific. He's like, I want to get this out there. This is a point I wanted to talk about. I'm like, all right. And the point he wanted to talk about was this. Is like, he wanted to talk about hormonal birth control. And he wanted to talk about how like hormonal birth control actually makes women less horny, or makes them look for like beta males, and birth control is this and this. And so how does that square against like your estimate of like ovulatory shift, right? Because people want to say, well, ovulatory shift doesn't matter because women are on birth control. And again, I hear this comment, and you'll see me at the end of the thing. I'm like, come on, yes, here we go. Get it out, spit it out. And he's reading this off of the tablet. He's reading this off of whatever watch he's got. I'm like, why is this so fucking important to this guy? This has absolutely, it was weird to me because it had absolutely nothing to do with the conversation up to that point. You want to talk about it now? You want to, like, before you go, it's very important before you leave to get on the plane and fly wherever you're going to tell me this. I'm like, why the fuck is he talking about this? And then I realize he's not the one that's coming up with this. It's the guys in the conference room that are tweeting or whatever, however they're communicating with him on Telegram or whatever. Hey, get him on this. Talk to about hormonal birth control and ovulatory shift, which I have addressed like God knows how many times. Ever since in fact, if you look at the book review I did of Marty Hazelton's book called Hormonal, I talk about that specifically there. I fielded this question so many times. That's why I'm like, yeah, spit it out. I know what you're going to talk about. But then afterwards, I'm like, that's odd. Why is he asking me about that? And then I realized because Miguel was telling me that he was talking to the other guy. There's two guys. One guy's at the laptop and the other guy's talking to Miguel, and they're trying to have this conversation, and the TV in the conference room is going on. And so Miguel goes up. I'm sorry, Miguel. Miguel goes up and he turns down the volume on the TV in the conference room so that he can carry on this conversation with the other guy who's there. And the guy who's at the laptop gets really kind of like upset and stressed out because he can't hear what's going on the TV, and he goes up and he like puts the volume back up, and Miguel's like, wow, that's kind of odd. And he's like frantically typing while he's watching the TV. And I'm like, okay, now because I didn't know this at the time, but I was on our trip back. Miguel was telling me that this was what was going on. And I go, and then I looked in the chat and somebody said, oh, look, he's got like 2 Apple Watches on. I'm like, who the fuck needs 2 Apple Watches? Well, communication. Who knows there could be lots of other guys that are, feeding him information. Hey, get roll on this, get roll on that. That's why I don't do fucking debates. This right here is why I don't do debates. And it's still, like 88%, was it 88%? 86% of guys said, oh, you're all won the debate. I didn't win anything. He didn't win anything because it wasn't a debate in the first place. It was just like, well, okay, if the debate was, oh, Roll's a bad guy or a good guy, well, then I guess I won. But that wasn't a debate. And so afterwards, I'm looking at this now. Here's how I know all this shit, because we have this like really great, people are saying, oh, that was very respectful. And I know there's a lot of guys that are like, oh, he was doing really good. And he made some points, blah, blah, blah. At least it was better than Jedediah. And I'm like, no, he becomes this completely different person, because 10 minutes after he leaves the studio, that's when he starts posting this shit in the chat, in the live chat that's still going on, because me and Adam are still going at it. We're still talking. We're answering super chats because we didn't want to get through all the super chats before we ended. Here's number one, by the way. And if you can't see what that says, you can see it's right about the center there. It says Ruslan. And he's like, fun for, what does it say? Oh, fun time for the person who asked. Yes, my wife took my last name. And then he's got another one here. I need to look at these in a little bit bigger format here. Sorry, guys. I was going to just put them on as screen caps here. Here it is. Okay. And so the bottom one there says, win valuetainment money. That was number one. So literally he's in the car on his way to Fort Lauderdale Airport, and he can't wait to get his ass back into the chat. So here's the next one, right? And this one, he says, let's see, I'll go on F&F anytime, fresh and fit. I'll go on fresh and fit anytime. And he's like talking all this other stuff. And it says, highly unlikely Myron will be half as well read as Rollo. You'd be wrong about that, my friend, because he's actually read my books. Thank you. Then the next one. Oh, let's keep going here. This was the next comment. I have stats. Thumbs up. Okay. Yeah, you had lots of stats because they were all coming to you on that tablet and your watches while you're in there, because you couldn't keep up with what the fuck I was doing. Next, down there it says, I shared a dozen stats. Myron don't want the smoke. Okay. What he's trying to do is he's trying to clout jack Myron at this point. So he goes from being this guy who's trying to have this sort of like, upscale conversation with me to turning into like a 12-year-old in the chat. On his way, I couldn't wait for it. He had to get back into it. So, and then the next one is, F&F is brilliant content, nonsensical worldview, Jack from Rollo without the reading. That's the next one. And then, by the way, Allie, Real Femme Sapien, is in there, I guess, having this conversation with him. And it says, Ruslan, I promise Myron does. He lives for it, blah, blah, blah. So they're having this back and forth. F&F doesn't want the smoke, right? I'm like, why are you flexing on fresh and fit now? And he's like talking about, okay, the next one. What's the next one down here? Next one is, you don't think I have a link with stats. Myron has repeatedly taken L's. And then the next one down, he's having this conversation a little bit more. My guy, Tony, just reached out to F&F. Tony, would that be the guy that was on the laptop that Miguel was talking with, or was it, which guy in the conference room was it? The one who was feeding you the information, or feeding you your stats and get him on this? Was that the guy? You guys think I'm stupid. I'm not stupid, guys. I know this shit. All right, here's the next one. Oh, is that the next one? What's the next one? Oops, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Is that it? No, this is it. I think this is it. Is that the one? Yeah, it is. Okay. And then he says, I'm very happy for FNF's success. Any immigrants building money is a win. He's going at it. And then people are saying, Ruslan lost big time. Now the chat realizes that he's actually in the chat now. And this is, by the way, this takes place within 10 minutes of him actually like leaving the building and then jumping in the car. And he could not wait to get into the chat right there. And then at the top here, he says, very unlikely Myron takes home more. That's beside the point. I think he's having this back and forth with Allie. I'll let Allie can probably like bring this up and talk about this a little bit more. She was saying, Rollo is tall, he's Danish, whatever. Okay, thank you very much. And then what's the next one down? Anyways, I'm showing you guys the chat logs here that I picked up as I was watching this. Myron is not an immigrant. I was joking. Thought he was. I'm an immigrant. Dude, do you even like know who you're talking about? Clearly you don't. Yeah, do you know what Myron's real name is? It's been used many a time by many a hater. And then modern dating is trash. That's one. Another one is don't date like the world, kids. You'll lose. Okay. So that's the points. Those are the points he's trying to make right there. What's the next one down? Let's keep going. Is this it? Non-immigrant. That was another one. This is don't date like the world. Oh, am I on this one? No, that's the other one. Don't date like the world. Date like the world, kids. You'll lose. Date like Rolo dated. Yeah, okay. I love that one. It's the second one down right there. Date like Rolo dated. How do you think I did? Wait, I didn't say one thing about how I dated. I didn't say one thing about like what my old school game was. But that's your prescription? Do you even know who I am? Do you even know what my dating history is about? Do you even know? Oh, he's 26. He's been married for 26 years. Okay, I just told you, if you're going to follow my example, that's the example. And it has nothing to do with the way you are. Okay, yeah, please do. Date like Rolo. Yeah, exactly. What's the next one? Ruslan, blah, 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 blah. Oh, Myron is just mid. I don't know what mid. Oh, mad. Myron is just mad. Rolo got married in the late 90s. That was another one. Yeah, I did. But you have no idea how that came to pass, dude. Clearly you don't. And clearly you haven't read the books because you would know. I spell it out pretty well in most of those books, especially religion. I talk about my past quite a bit in there. What's this one? There we go. Oops. Is that it? No, it's the yellow one. Where's the yellow one? I thought I had the yellow one in there. What's he saying? Anyways, modern dating is trash. Oh, I got to that one already. Sorry. I'm reposting that one again. How did I get that twice? Here we go. This was Katya. Katya was the one who put the $50 in there. And, first off, thank you, Rolo, blah, blah, blah. And then, here's what he said. Most, if not all girls in Miami club scene aren't wives. Correct. Yes. But again, I'm going to show you some stats here that'll like bake your noodle a little bit. And this is the last one. So I promise you there's no more after this. These are the chat logs. I think you guys get the point. And then finally, before he goes off to jumps on the plane, he says sugar daddy websites equals paying for box, period. Like he's trying to pull out this stuff of, once again, he's trying to reheat all the stuff that had happened with Fresh and Fit, which of course if he had any idea what the fuck he was talking about, Myron and Fresh had addressed that over a year. Well, now in August, it'll be a year ago. Right. In fact, Ruslan, let me give you a little bit of advice. Okay. Don't take your advice. Don't take anything that Abba and Preach say about Fresh and Fit as the gospel truth. Okay. Matter of fact, you might want to go look up that video and just type in Abba and Preach, put milking in there and in the chat, and then see what you get and see if that's the guy that you want to use and want to endorse and you want to get behind as your source of information about Myron and Fresh. Okay. Yeah. I'm just going to leave it at that. Go put in Abba milking or Abba and Preach milking. Just look at that. Look at those videos, and I'll just leave it at that point right there for you. Go and sort out for yourself.